Hi, I'm Paul Friedman. I'm the founder of the Marriage Foundation. Hopefully you're already a subscriber. We've got over 27,000 and it's growing rapidly because our approach to marriage is so different. We don't do blame, we don't do condemn, we don't look at your childhood. We look at your marriage as a whole. And in this particular topic, this is how can I stop being jealous of my husband's female friends? I don't know that this is something you actually can do, but the problem is not the jealousy, it's what the jealousy does to you and does to your husband. And it's really a two-part question. First part is, what can I do so that I'm not so angry, right? So that I'm not so cranky with him. And the second part is, how do I approach this with him? Because it is of deep concern. And so let me be very blunt right off the bat. It's because neither of you understand marriage that your husband even has female friends. He really shouldn't have any female friends. Now, he may have some, like cousins or something, who are relations and maybe an old school, something like that, but that's not what you're talking about here. You might be talking about someone from work or someone who he knew before you got together, and it's not appropriate. I hate using that word. It's not the right thing for him to do, but you cannot tell him that. Because if you tell him that, then he's going to become defensive over your defensiveness, right? When you say something to him, he becomes angry. He defends his right to have female friends. He tells you there's nothing wrong with having female friends because we live in such a quote-unquote open-minded society. But there is something wrong with him having female friends and you having male friends. What is wrong is that it's stupid to put yourself into a situation where you may be tempted. And that's the truth. And it doesn't matter what the female friends or the male friends look like. That's not where love is cultivated. And now I'm getting to the main point. There is something that you can and should do. You know, picture this. You go into a backyard and someone keeps their dog in the backyard. And the first thing you notice is you pick up the smell of dog poop. It's a small enclosed yard and there's the poop right there. First thing you notice. Now, you go to a park and there's this big field and off to the side there's some dog poop. And you just it's not that big a deal. I mean, it's disgusting that someone didn't pick up after their dog, slap their hand, but it's not as big a deal because it has become smaller in context. And what is happening is this mistake of his is smaller in context when your marriage is being run properly and the context of your marriage is where it's supposed to be, which is on happiness and love. But what happens is we become small-minded and we look for these little things, little in comparison to love. What's big compared to love? What's even medium-sized compared? And I'm not talking about, I love you, see you later, I love you, blah, blah, blah. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about that deep love that you have felt on occasion that is overwhelming. When I say overwhelming, I can tell you exactly what I am talking about. And this is the difference between the Marriage Foundation and all these psychological approaches. Because we know at the Marriage Foundation that your marriage is a spiritual entity, and you're supposed to live it on the highest spiritual plane of love. That overwhelming love is overwhelming because the mind is a possession of yours. And the problem is we live in our mind too much. If you lived in that love that is overwhelming, everything else is small in comparison. But we don't. We don't because we're afraid. We don't because we haven't learned about it. We don't because of a number of reasons, but we're human beings. We are supposed to know about these things. We are supposed to, okay, I'll hit you with this one. As human beings, if you're not happy, you're not living your life correctly. How's that grab you? I'm not saying that everything's going to go right, but I'm saying that as a human being, and I'm going to prove this one to you too. Just connect the dots. You know you have free will, right? You know that you have volition, which is the ability to operate. We know what happiness is. We know what love is. These are a consciousness, a conscious awareness. So if you have free choice and you have volition, you have the means to achieve anything you choose, because you also have wisdom. So why wouldn't you choose joy? Why wouldn't you? Well, the answer is because no one told us about this. We weren't taught. That's all it is. Well, at the Marriage Foundation, I used to be a divorce mediator over 20 years ago. I used to help people get a divorce, and then a couple asked me to help them save their marriage. They'd already gone the traditional marriage counseling route and failed, and I was good at helping them solve their problems, so they thought, okay, I could help them solve the problems of their marriage, but I ended up not doing that. Instead, I helped them see how to have an amazing marriage. You know, they gave me a few months to study marriage, and everywhere I looked, I saw stupid stuff. Stupid stuff. Like things about boundaries, things about arguing properly, things about not talking about this and not talking about that. And I thought, this is so mundane. This is so trite. There's got to be more. And I thought about it, and I asked my friends. I asked people standing in line at Starbucks. I said, why do you get married in the first place? Oh, I got married because I fell in love. No. Why get married at all? And I discovered that there are two primary reasons. One is we want to be happy. You get married to be happy. Who gets married to be miserable? And yet most people get miserable when they get married. And the other is to learn to love unconditionally, because love is the greatest experience there is, right? So now you go back to this free choice and volition and the consciousness. And so what did I do? I showed them how to get themselves on the path of creating in themselves and in their marriage happiness and love. And we still have that going on. We have courses for men and courses for women to help people get there. I also wrote a couple of books if your marriage is not in trouble, though, or maybe just a little bit of trouble. Then those books are helpful. So how do you stop being jealous of your husband's female friends? Well, you might say by increasing the size of your yard, of your marriage. Make it about love. Change the context of your relationship to love. Blow your husband's mind by becoming the woman who he thought he was marrying. Remember when you said, honey, I'm going to love you forever. I'm going to knock your socks off. You're going to be so well taken care of. And that turned into complaining and bitching and moaning and condemnation and criticism, because we become overfamiliar and we think we're owed something, and we forget what our promises are because we weren't taught how important they are. The number one thing you can do is become you. You, the soul. Get out of your mind. Lift yourself up from your mind. Lift yourself up from the imperatives that the body is imposing on your mind, because that's all about self-preservation. Become the most amazing lover. You know, there's examples in the world of people who have become amazing lovers of humanity. And what I'm suggesting is you don't have to do that. You don't have to become a Gandhi or a Dr. Martin Luther King or a Jesus. You have to become a lover only in your community of two. That's all you have to do. It'll change everything. And you know what? Your husband will start losing interest in these women. Now, a lot of people misinterpret what I say. And what they do is they start behaving in a certain way. And that's fine, but it doesn't do the trick. What does the trick is becoming the heart. And then your behavior is very natural. It's not imposed, it's not fake. It's sincere, it's real. And that's where it's at. Now, there's a lot you can learn about marriage just by subscribing to this channel, and there's so much you will learn. It may not be enough. You could read the books, still may not be enough, because if you're suffering from jealousy and your husband's behavior is triggering it, and it will trigger it because it's the wrong kind of behavior for him, but you can't tell him that, then you need to take yourself to the next higher level. Become you, the soul. Let your personality be defined by your heart. And that is what we teach you in the courses. That's why the course is so valuable. So that's it. I hope this was helpful. Like this video if it was. Leave a comment if you wish. And those of you who have been following us for a while, and you get what we're trying to do, we're expanding ourselves. We're going to, when I first started doing this, it was in 2001, I think. And I started helping couples and completely redefining what that is all about. And very, very successful. Some of the people who I was training would send me their quote-unquote lost causes, and I would save these marriages. And I can train you too in how to do that. I'm starting to create the training course, and it's not ready yet. It's not even ready for sale yet, but it will be soon. And if you let us know, we'll let you know when it will be. So if you're a clergy or you want to be a marriage counselor, or not a marriage therapist, but someone who helps guide people the way I'm helping, then we want you. We're going to have a huge community in the future of proper marriage counselors who truly help couples have an amazing marriage, and we want you to be part of that. So again, I'm Paul Friedman. I thank you for joining me. I appreciate if you do again, and God bless you, and take care.